Welcome to your math lesson for Thursday, March 26th. Today we're talking about rate. So, a rate is a ratio between different units. So it's very similar to what we've already been doing. You're still looking at ratios, you're still looking at a comparison between two things, but rates always compare different things. So we use rates especially when we're talking about speed, distance, cost, these kinds of things. So we often use rate to compare speed and distance. So a unit rate is really what you're going to be working with today. Unit rates are when you're working with the same comparison, but the ratio has been reduced to lowest terms. So it's been reduced where the second term is 1. It has to be 1. So what you're looking for is how many kilometers for 1 hour. How buy a pack of muffins, how much would one muffin cost? That kind of thing. So the second term of your ratio will be 1, and that turns it into a unit rate. Don't forget to pause the video so that you can write down all of the notes. They do still need to be in your notebook. So you find the unit rate. You find the unit rate by dividing the second term into the first term. So we're going to do a couple of those examples. And we'll talk a little bit about why we do this. All right, so example number 1. 54 kilometers in 9 hours. That's the ratio. That 54 to 9. But to turn it into a unit rate, we need to make that into 1. We need to take the 9 hours and reduce them to 1. How many kilometers in 1 hour? So like I say, all you need to do to be able to do this is take your second term of your rate and divide it into the first term. So this one you don't need an outside calculation for. You just look down your 9s until you get to 54 on your multiplication chart. And so, hopefully, if you look down your 9s till you get to 54, you look to the side and you know that it's 6. So when you rewrite it as a unit rate, you write 6 kilometers per hour. And this is what unit rates need to look like. So this little line means per. And instead of writing 1 hour, you just write the symbol for hour. And that's how your unit rates should look. So here's your rate, your regular rate, your ratio, your comparison, however you want to call it. 54 kilometers in 9 hours. And this is your unit rate, where the hours have been reduced to 1 by dividing that hours into the kilometers. So now I know 6 kilometers per hour. So that's how you're going to be writing your answers. All right, let's do another example. I've got 96 pencils in 8 boxes. So again, I'm going to take my 8 and divide it into 96. So you look down your 8s. Use your multiplication chart. Please don't guess. Look down your 8s until you get to 96. Look to the side. You should find the answer is 12. So you put 12 pencils per box. You don't write 1 box. You don't use your equal sign. You don't write the in, you don't use a ratio symbol. When you're doing unit rates, you want to use the slash or the line that means per. And you might, if you take a look at the third example, you'll notice that we've got 210 words in 5 minutes. Sometimes you might have to do outside calculations for these. So in this case, if you don't know how many times 5 can go into 210 off the top of your head, which is fine, then let's talk a little bit about our good old friend outside calculation, where you take your 5 and you divide it into 210. So 5 can't go into 2. 5 can go into 21. So 5 into 21 goes 4 times, which is 20, with 1 left over. 5 into 10 goes 2 times, which is 10, with 0 left over. So that means 42 is my answer, so I'm going to take my 42 words per minute. And so when you're doing these unit rates, where the second term is 1, and you're not actually writing the number 1, you are looking for a way to reduce this ratio, reduce the rate, the comparison. Any one of those terms is appropriate here. You're reducing it, and the easiest way to do that is to divide the second term into the first term. That's the easiest way to do it. If you want to know why we do it that way, I'm going to check to see the time on the video and see if we've got time, because I'm going to explain it. Oh yeah, we're good. Okay, so why do we do it this way? I want you to think about it like this. 210 over 5. Think about it like a fraction. Equals something over 1. So if I were working with equivalent ratios, equivalent fractions, just like we've done all week, to do this, to find the missing number, which is exactly what you guys were doing yesterday, I had to figure out how to turn 5 into 1. So I divide by 5, which means I have to divide that by 5, which I now know is 42. So that is exactly what a unit rate is. 1 as the second term. But instead of having to write it out like this, the easiest way to do it is just to take the bottom number and divide it into the top number. And the reason for that is whatever's on the bottom is going to have to be divided by itself to get 1. Whether it's 5, 10, whatever, 152, whatever's on that bottom will have to be divided by itself, which means whatever's on the top will have to be divided by what's on the bottom. So instead of writing it all out like this and kind of going through all these many steps, like what you did yesterday to kind of prepare you for today, we're kind of cutting out those middle steps and just going right from take the second term and divide it into the first term. But this is why we do that. And so, for today's work, you're just going to take that second term and you're going to divide it into the first term. You don't have to do what we were doing yesterday. So hopefully you understand that concept, and that's how we're going, and we're moving on to kind of a different concept with kind of cutting out the middle operations. We're jumping right to take the second term, divide it into the first term. I will be doing a video of examples from today's worksheets, so keep your eye out for that. And if you have any questions, please do get in touch. Let me know how everything is going, if you need another pencil, if you need another notebook, whatever. All right, good luck.